Good morning and welcome to this induction ceremony for our Athletic Hall of Fame. My name is Bill Fody, and together with George Martin, we're very proud to serve as the Directors of Athletics here at Colby-Sawyer. And just a quick side note, I've been asked by our inductees to set the bar really low with my speech, so I'll try to accommodate as best I can. You know, in the athletic department, we view this day as our favorite day of the year. It's a dream we had a while back to put this together, and this is our 10th class that's going in. So before we begin, I think it's important that we thank some of those people that helped make this possible. First, our Chargers Club for their generous support, to Mike Heffernan and Dennis Keon and the catering staff, Amy Drummond, Ruth Clark, Kathy Mitchell, Jimmy Safaris for all their support in the preparation leading up to this day, and our Hall of Fame committee, George Martin, Beth Sargent Fenton, the president of the Chargers Club, Ben Steele, our faculty athletic rep, Ryan Emerson, our sports information director, Lindsay Pasacchio, Nate Camp, and the captain of this team, Tracy Austin. Please join me in giving them a round of applause. Now, we think all of our athletes are really special here at Colby-Sawyer. They spend a lot of time on their sport, hours spent lifting, running, training, rehabbing. They cut their summer vacation short to come to preseason camp. They have a shortened holiday break in the winter to go to winter camp. They do all of this while truly being student athletes. Ask any athlete here, current or former, and they'll tell you of the hours they've spent on buses, long bus rides, studying to and from away contests, going to study halls arranged by their coach. We ask them to excel in the classroom as well as in their respective sport, and they do this while being engaged with the campus community as a whole. Now, our student athletes do this because they make these sacrifices because they love competition, they love being a part of something bigger than themselves, they love being a part of a team, they love representing Colby-Sawyer. They know it's not their name on the front of the jersey, but rather Colby-Sawyer. They take great pride in that. Now, our alums in the crowd can take pride in our most recent success that we've had here in Colby-Sawyer athletics. Just this past year, Colby-Sawyer was recognized with 3 Conference Players of the Year, 4 Conference Rookies of the Year, 3 Conference Defensive Players of the Year, 6 conference titles, sending 5 teams to the NCAA tournament. Many of those athletes are here today to my left. Let's give them a round of applause. Now, we have some special guests here today. A special welcome to our inductees, as well as their family, teammates, friends, those that are closest to you, that supported you every step of the way in your athletic careers. Today, we honor you, and you take your rightful place amongst the all-time greats here in Colby-Sawyer athletics. But before we begin our ceremony, I think it's important that we reflect back a bit on our athletic history. I'd like to welcome and honor some current Hall of Famers that are present today. Let me ask each of you to stand as I say your name. Jen Ellis, did Jen make it? Signe Linville? Nate Camp, assistant coach with the 99 women's basketball team. George Martin, the coach of the 99 women's basketball team and women's volleyball team. Katie Sykes-Follis. Matt George. And Michelle Daly, Missy Ekman-Bennett, and Julie Sheehan O'Neill, members of the 99 women's basketball team. I would encourage everyone to visit our Hall of Fame wall in the Hogan Sports Center later today to read the plaques of our current inductees and past. So today we come together to celebrate some truly special student athletes. We build on our history as we recognize individuals and teams for their extraordinary achievements while representing Colby-Sawyer. And as our current Hall of Fame members did before you, you in turn have set the bar for future inductees. Now, I mentioned we have some current athletes that are here. I'm really happy to see that many of our alums have their children here today. and perhaps hearing some of your stories will inspire them to do things they didn't think possible. Perhaps there's a future Hall of Famer here. So now let's turn our attention to the special people to my right in the stage and in our audience, and we'll begin our induction ceremony. First, I'll present Ethan Casson. There he is. Now, Ethan was in my first recruiting class here at Colby-Sawyer, along with fellow Hall of Famer Jim McGilvery, both from Keene High School. That's not a bad start to a recruiting class, 2 Hall of Famers in your first class. Now, Ethan regrets that he can't be here today. He works in the NFL with the San Francisco 49ers. Today being a Sunday, they've got a game. But before I talk about what he's doing today, I think I need to reflect back a little bit to 1992 when we first met. I was hired, quickly hit the recruiting trail. Rook Hall was the new residence hall on campus. The Hogan Sports Center was a new marvel that other colleges were visiting us to try and emulate. There was no Danforth, Ivy, Lawson, Lethbridge Lodge, among other buildings. We had about 650 students, mostly women, as we had just turned co-ed. The men's basketball team was 6-19. Many of the players were leaving the team. I had never been a head coach before, and I reached out to Ethan. So I offer this to provide some context to show what a leap of faith it was for guys like Ethan and other guys in the early days of co-education to come here and share a vision about what could be. I can't overstate enough how important it was for guys like that to make that leap of faith. It made it okay for other talented recruits to check out Colby-Sawyer, to consider us the new kid on the block, and for that I'm eternally grateful. Now, Ethan's impact on the court was immediate. His freshman year, we became the most improved team in New England, the 3rd most improved team nationally. He was a very, very strong, heady point guard. He averaged an assist-to-turnover ratio of about 4-to-1, which is unheard of. If it's 2-to-1, it's considered outstanding. He was 4-to-1. He just simply didn't turn the ball over. He was a lockdown defender, very athletic kid, always drawing the opponent's best perimeter player. He averaged a very unconventional, just under 6 rebounds a game. Again, for a point guard, that doesn't happen. So oftentimes, casual basketball observers will place all their focus on, stuff they see on SportsCenter, dunks, highlight reels, that sort of thing, and his game was not like that. The more you saw of Ethan's game, the more you appreciate it. He was rock solid, consistent, mentally tough, dependable, and a great teammate. His decision-making and defense could impact a game in a profound way, as much as any 25-point-per-game scorer. He left here as our all-time leader in assists, 3rd all-time in steals and rebounds. He's still among our all-time leaders in assists and steals. He had a great career here and played on some great teams. Now, his postgraduate career is equally impressive in the world of professional sports. Ethan took his Colby-Sawyer education, started working for ESPN in sponsorship development, went on to the NBA's Minnesota Timberwolves for 11 years, eventually rising to the position of Senior Vice President of Corporate Sales and Services. Now he's with the 49ers, as I've mentioned. For the past 6 years, he's risen to the level of Chief Revenue Officer. In that role, he oversees all their revenue streams for the team and the stadium. He was the person most responsible for them landing a $220 million naming rights deal, Levi Stadium, over 20 years, one of the largest in NFL history. He currently serves on the board of directors for the Make-A-Wish Foundation in the Greater Bay Area, and last year he was recognized by the Sports Business Journal 40 Under 40 class of 2014. He's very generous with his time, always willing to help Colby-Sawyer with talking to students, internships, or anything we need. That's what he's doing now, but I keep hearkening back to 1992 when it took guts and faith and vision to put your stamp on what could be. And I'll quote another Hall of Famer, a men's basketball alum, Jim Durrell, again back in those early days. He said, and I quote, "If you wanted history, you were going to have to make it." In 2013, Ethan was inducted into the New England Basketball Hall of Fame, and now it's my honor and great pleasure that today I present Ethan Casson as a member of the Colby-Sawyer Athletic Hall of Fame.
morning, everyone. Good morning, everyone. I regret that I couldn't be with all of you today during the Alumni Fall Festival at Colby-Sawyer.
I need one. Give me a timeout. This was awesome in our dry runs.
Colby-Sawyer, I imagine it's been a wonderful weekend of celebrating and reconnecting. Although I would have loved to have returned to join in the festivities and accept this incredible honor, unfortunately the NFL schedule has the 49ers hosting the Baltimore Ravens this weekend here in the Bay Area. In looking back, it's hard to believe it's been 20 years. This recognition has encouraged me to reflect not only on my playing days, but the professional journey since graduating in 1996. The fundamental principles from my days at Colby-Sawyer have shaped the professional I am today. To be kind to others, to embrace the underdog role, to remain a fierce competitor, and more than anything, to dream big. Congratulations to the other inductees who are celebrating today. A special congrats to the 1997-98 men's basketball team. I was fortunate enough to play with several of those guys. I want to thank Coach Fody for taking a chance on me, his first official recruit at Colby-Sawyer. The success the program has seen over the past 24 years, inclusive of 400+ wins, is a testimony to the coach he continues to be. Thanks, Coach, for believing me back then and accepting this honor on my behalf today. Thanks also goes to my teammates, coaches, and faculty who supported me during such an impressionable time in my life. It's a very, very special community where people take care of one another. Thank you to my family and my parents. They sacrificed a great deal to provide their children a chance to go to college, something they never had the opportunity to do. They very rarely, if ever, missed a game. I'm very grateful and humbled by this recognition and will continue to look back fondly on my years at Colby-Sawyer.
And now George Martin to present Michelle Daly.
Thank you, Bill. Good morning, everyone, and congratulations to all of our 2015 Hall of Fame inductees. Ethan, John, Lori, and Michelle, you all had outstanding careers. And the 1997-98 men's basketball team, you had that one spectacular year. You each brought a great deal of excitement and pride to our campus, and we are honored to have you return today so we can remember and recognize all of your accomplishments. It's my distinct pleasure to talk about the career of Michelle Daly. Like Bill and Ethan, Michelle should have been in my first recruiting class. I was my first job as a head coach in the fall of 1995, which was Michelle's senior in high school, but I didn't recruit Michelle. She was a late arrival to Colby-Sawyer. Her senior in high school, as I said, was my first season as the head coach. On my first recruiting trip, which actually was to the Hogan Center in Colby-Sawyer College on Court 3, I saw a young lady that really caught my eye and wanted her to be a part of our program. Her name was Heather St. Louis. Heather happened to play on Michelle's high school team. So when I got to go watch Heather play in high school, I got to see the Methuen high school team, which Michelle was a part of. Now that team was unbelievable. They had Heather and Michelle. They had a center who later went on to play at the University of Maine and then for several years in the WNBA. Another woman who went on to play at Harvard for 4 years, and an athlete that went to Florida to play on a scholarship, either volleyball or basketball. I don't remember where Diana went, but the team was unbelievable. So the first game I went to see, Heather was okay. Michelle was very, very good. Now I had a problem. Do I continue to recruit Heather? Do I stop recruiting Heather and recruit Michelle? Do I recruit both of them, or what do I do? I decided, mistakenly, not because she wasn't good, because Heather had an outstanding career here, but to just recruit Heather. I felt as though because they were both guards that if I tried to recruit both of them, that I would lose both of them and I would end up with nobody. So I decided to recruit Heather. Heather came to Colby-Sawyer and ended up having an outstanding 4-year career for us, while Michelle attended Daniel Webster College as a freshman. During her freshman year at Daniel Webster, she averaged about 16 points a game and scored 369 points in one season. She was clearly headed for a great career as a Division III basketball player, and I knew I probably should have taken a chance on recruiting both of them, but it was too late, and there's nothing I could do about it now. As the 95-96 season wore on, Heather came into my office at the end of the season and said, "Coach, Michelle's not happy at Daniel Webster. She's talking about transferring." That probably happened because every day when Heather was on campus, I said, "How's Michelle? Does Michelle like Daniel Webster? Has she ever talked about transferring?" But anyways, I wasn't about to mess up the second opportunity to recruit Michelle this time. There was just one small problem. The NCAA has rules against recruiting people who are always in college. I couldn't write or call because that wasn't allowed. Daniel Webster wouldn't release her, so I couldn't contact her. I couldn't Facebook her. I couldn't Snapchat her. I couldn't Instagram her. I couldn't even send her an email because I don't think any of those things were invented yet. So I actually had no way of getting in contact with Michelle. But we got lucky. As our season went longer than Daniel Webster's, I heard through the grapevine that Michelle was going to attend our CCC semifinal game against Regis. Somehow or other, on that trip to the game, an application to Colby-Sawyer ended up in Heather's gym bag. And quite remarkably, it ended up in Michelle's hands at the end of the game. We may have ended up losing the game that night, but we got a transfer application out of Michelle. That night, she watched us lose in a conference tournament game, and she would take part in more during her career, but we wouldn't lose another one for her entire career. During Michelle's 3 years here at Colby-Sawyer, the women's basketball team was 70-14, with 3 of those losses in the NCAA tournament. We were 40-2 in Commonwealth Coast Conference play. We were 9-0 in conference tournament games. We won 3 conference championships, played in 3 NCAA tournaments, and hosted 2 NCAA tournaments here at Colby-Sawyer. We won the only NCAA tournament game in NCAA Colby-Sawyer women's basketball history. And Michelle was a major factor in all of those accomplishments. Michelle was, and still is, a quiet, shy, unassuming individual that is very hard to get a word out of, and really difficult to read what she is thinking. That, however, all changed whenever she stepped on the floor. She transformed into a confident, intense, emotional player who was respected by all her teammates and was dreaded by all of our opponents. She could impact a game in many different ways. She could score by either knocking down a 3 or driving to the basket and make a left-handed driving layup. She could defend anybody. She had the uncanny ability to find the open player on the floor. And even though she was a 1,000-point scorer in college, she never led our team in scoring. She was 5th or 6th on the team in scoring as a sophomore and finished 3rd both her junior and senior years. However, she led the team in steals and assists from her 2-guard position both her junior and senior years. While averaging only 10 points a game her junior year, she was named the CCC Player of the Year, and her senior year, while just averaging 8 points a game, was named the CCC First Team Player. She made a difference to the team on every possession of the game on both ends of the floor. Michelle finished her collegiate career with 1,078 points, and at the end of her 3-year career at Colby-Sawyer, she was ranked 10th all-time in steals, 4th all-time in career points, 3rd all-time in career assists, and was 2nd all-time with 143 assists in one season. Michelle now lives with her fiance, Amy, and they have 3 children, twin boys, Josh and Matthew, and a daughter, Ava. She has stayed involved in basketball since her playing days ended at Colby-Sawyer. She worked as assistant coach for me here at Colby-Sawyer and was also an assistant coach at Elms College. She was recently named the head girls basketball coach at East Hampton High School in Massachusetts. Michelle, I'm sure if you stayed at Daniel Webster, you would be in their Hall of Fame now, but you didn't. And we're all very happy that you decided to come to Colby-Sawyer for your home for 3 years. You were the final piece in our puzzle that led our program to the most successful 3-year stretch in our history. It is an honor and a great pleasure that I induct Michelle Daly as the newest member of the Colby-Sawyer College Athletic Hall of Fame.
Good morning. It's an honor to be back at Colby-Sawyer to be inducted into the Athletic Hall of Fame class of 2015. I can't believe it's been 20 years since I first arrived on campus to watch a basketball game. As George said, I'd been playing in a different school at the time and came up to watch my childhood friend, Heather St. Louis, play. As I sat and watched the game and saw how her teammates played and how passionate Coach Martin was, I was absolutely 100% jealous. I immediately began to wonder if I could be a part of this team. When I met George, I asked if he thought I could play here, and his response was, "You'll have to try out." It wasn't the biggest boost of confidence, but I was determined to transfer to Colby-Sawyer right away. I've been in love with basketball since I was the same age as my twin boys are now, 7. I spent all of my time in our driveway playing basketball with neighborhood kids, and a lot of times by myself. I would play in the rain, I'd play in the dark, I'd play until the neighbors complained about the noise. I never thought that this game that I love would bring me to this moment. If I had known I'd be standing here today, I never would have dropped that public speaking class junior year. Thank you to Julianne Sheehan O'Neill for nominating me. You are my dear friend, and I'm so grateful that you and Brendan are Matthew and Joshua's godparents. Also here today is my best high school friend, Maggie. Your support and everything that I do means the world to me. Maggie was actually benched while on the bench at a softball game in high school for cheering too much for me. So I've never seen that happen. I'd also like to thank my mom, who's here today as well, for making sure that no matter where we live, there's always a hoop in our driveway. My kids, my amazing kids, Matthew, Joshua, and Ava, my biggest fans. This summer, they were diehard fans when I attempted to play in a league against kids half my age. They were truly engaged in the games and very inquisitive about how the game is played. They found it very unfair that the other team always got 3 points when they made a basket, but I only got 2. I hope that they find as much love and passion for something as I have for basketball. Also, thank you to my partner, Amy. There's no one I would rather be on this journey with than you. I'm very lucky to have you in my life. I really cannot begin to thank all the people who influenced me and helped me become the player I was and the person I am today. I never would have had an assist if my teammates couldn't catch the ball and finish a shot. My favorite target was always Chrissy Diachizin. She never met a shot she didn't like, except maybe a layup, and she rarely missed. George, your knowledge of the game and the way you organized our schedule to prepare us for the postseason and the NCAA tournament was so smart. I think you're a genius, and I feel so fortunate to have had the unique opportunity to play for you and coach beside you. Thank you for your confidence in me and giving me a chance in both respects. The timing of this honor could not be more perfect as I embark on a long-awaited, much-anticipated opportunity to coach the girls' varsity basketball team in my town of East Hampton. I can't wait to give back to my community doing something that I love. Thanks all for coming today.
And now Amy Perizzo to present Lori Monroe Lombardi.
Good morning, everyone. I too took public speaking. I didn't drop it, and I'm still unbelievably nervous up here. So I will do my best in honor of my friend Lori. So 1993, late August, freshman year, first floor of Shepherd Hall, Lori Monroe, now Lori Monroe Lombardi, became my roommate, my teammate, and my friend. We shared a small dorm room outfitted with those little bed risers to give us some more space. And then we shared a room with bunk beds because 2 girls who have never shared a room before can never have enough space. Our walls were plastered with posters, the ones we used to buy in Ware Campus Center, and tons of memories like Mountain Day, decorating our door for Christmas, and exploding hole punchers easily come to mind. We shared the court to play and compete in a game we both love, bonding over trips that included middle-of-the-night evacuations from our hotel and being locked out of our van, both of which occurred right before championship matches. We also enjoyed watching the US Open from the highest possible seat in the stadium and playing on the grass at the International Tennis Hall of Fame. And we've shared a friendship for 22 years. Lori asked me to introduce her today and share with all of you as to why I nominated her to be inducted into the Hall of Fame, and I'm very honored to do so, even though my voice is shaking like this. While at Colby-Sawyer, Lori was a multi-sport athlete, but as a fellow tennis player, I'll focus on the sport with the racket. The accolades and accomplishments Lori amassed over her 4 years were outstanding. There are way too many to share, but I would like to highlight a few. What I find impressive about this list is that it's a list of a person who made her mark in the classroom and on the court of play. During her 4 years as a Charger, she made an impact on her peers, the record books, and this college. I always admired Lori for her ability to be and do everything. She was, just a few highlights, she was the New Hampshire NCAA Woman of the Year. She was the recipient of Tennis Magazine's Arthur Ashe Collegiate Award for Leadership and Sportsmanship. She was the Commonwealth Coast Conference Senior Scholar Athlete, Colby-Sawyer's Senior Scholar Athlete, a member of National NCAA Student Athlete Advisory Committee. She was a Colby-Sawyer Distinguished Service Award winner. She was a member of Alpha Chi. She was the MVP of our freshman, junior, and senior season. I didn't really give us a chance. And 19 seasons later, Lori still ranks 6th in total victories at 88, 3rd in singles victories at 49, and 8th in doubles victories at 39. The women's tennis team was very successful from 1993 to 1996. We won 4 straight championships while dominating the New England Women's Athletic Conference and the Commonwealth Coast Conference. This group went 26-1 in conference play. Bringing together a group of women for one common goal is not always easy. But this team was focused and determined to not only play every day, but to also support each other along the way. Following our senior season, our coach Jill Firstbrook said, "It takes a lot of guts and determination not to be scared to win or lose, but to just compete to the best of your ability." Lori always did just that. Her commitment to the team and performance on the court contributed to those triumphs. She was a fierce competitor and winner as she beat down her opponents in both singles and doubles with strategy and finesse. She was a leader who was always our biggest cheerleader, but was never afraid to be tough on us if that's what you needed to hear. To me, being inducted today is as much about being, sorry, slow down. I'm not gonna go 5 minutes, so I'll probably just take time out. Okay. So to me, being inducted today is as much about Lori and how she is as a person and was as a person. I'm gonna even start over again. Okay, really sorry. I'm really sorry. To me, being inducted today is as much about who Lori was and is as a person as it is about being one of the greatest tennis players in Colby-Sawyer history. I was proud to share the court with her so many years ago, and I'm proud to be here today to share this moment with her. Lori is the perfect choice to represent this period in women's tennis and all Colby-Sawyer athletes, and that's why I nominated her. Lori Monroe Lombardi, my roommate, my teammate, and my friend, congratulations on your induction into the Colby-Sawyer College Athletics Hall of Fame.
Wow. Good morning again. I have a speech written and I'm already thinking about ways I can elaborate, so forgive me. First, I want to say thank you to the Colby-Sawyer College Athletic Hall of Fame Committee. That's why we're all here. And to those who supported me, encouraged me, coached me, and loved me throughout the years. Jill Firstbrook was my coach for tennis, and one of my track coaches is here, Lisa in the back. And I'm very thankful for the type of people that they were to be able to coach us in the school. And all this was leading up to this award, especially thanks to my parents who are here, who would rarely miss a home game despite about a 2-hour ride. And we were all thankful on the team when they would bring their dog, who was a big Newfoundland. So we had an extra mascot besides the Charger. But all of this leading up to this award, leading up to today. And some of you are here today, others who encouraged me along the way. Each of you contributing to help me find my own life's purpose. And until recently, I truly thought it was about making a name for myself. Those efforts for that kind of purpose left me empty and never satisfied. But what I know now is I was created for a much greater purpose, and that there's only one name worthy of all praise and glory for the accomplishments and good things in my life, including this award. And that name is Jesus Christ, my Lord and Savior. And knowing Jesus and walking with him now gives me the peace and fulfillment that eluded me when seeking my own praises. And if there's anyone here today who is trying to make a name for yourself, whether it's your job, sports, parenting, whatever, and you're feeling unsatisfied, it's just not working, then I'd love to talk with you as well. Finally, I would like to read a little from the Bible. It's from Psalm 115, verse 1. Not to us, Lord, not to us, but to your name be the glory, because of your love and faithfulness for all of our things that we do here. Thank you, and may God's grace and peace be with you.
And now Ben Warnick to present John Nicholas.
All right, we're good. All right. Good morning, everyone. Congratulations to all the recipients that are going in this year. I never got to see any of you play, but I'm sure in your heyday it was quite the show you put on here in New London. But now on to me. My name is Ben Warnick, and I had the honor of playing baseball here for 4 seasons with the Chargers as a catcher for Coach Broden. Unfortunately, you don't get to hear about my mediocre, below-average career in New London and my impressive team fat freshman 30-pound weight gain during my freshman year of 2003-2004, which I've actually gained onto impressively since then, so as you can see. I will ever talk about my performance at yesterday's alumni game. If anybody wants to talk about it, we can, in the back after. We'll get over that. But instead, I'm going to talk about one of the most dominant pitchers to ever suit up in royal and black for the Chargers, John Nicholas. Known to his teammates as J-Nick, he had the uncanny ability to balance competitiveness and composure. A sidearm slinger with slide-hard slinging workhorse with pinpoint accuracy, J-Nick was a menace to batters as a staff ace for 4 seasons with the Chargers in the Commonwealth Coast Conference. I had the honor of being his teammate for 2 seasons, but I never saw him rattled, no matter what the situation was. I remember being a catcher, a lot of players would come up on the other teams like, this guy's still here? He had a fastball and changeup, a great movement, a frisbee-like slider, an occasional pitch snog splitter, named after the West Virginia great Kevin Pittsnogle, we call the Pittsnog. Anyway, he used all these pitches, and he won all these awards. He was 2-time All-Conference Pitcher of the Year, still has plenty of records, wins, innings pitched, complete games. Felt like he pitched every single game. And he set all these records and won all these awards as selflessly as could be, never boasting, never telling he was a staff ace. He was just one of the guys. But if you saw him pitch, you knew he was really good. Beyond that, J-Nick was a baseball purist. Never iced after games, always hopped over the baselines to and from the mound, wore the unlucky jersey number 13, covered his mouth when he would meet with me when we meet on the mound about something, which is usually to make fun of the other team, or Coach Broden mostly. The list goes on and on. But J-Nick was a hell of a motivator and calming influence to his teammates. My freshman year, I suffered an arm injury, didn't play much. I tell myself that it was the injury I was hurt, but really I just wasn't that good. It was the middle of the season and we played Anna Maria, who was really bad that year, and we got beat, and Coach Broden got thrown out, which never happened because he never really said much to the umpires or at all. So Janet comes up to me and he goes, you're gonna play in this next game. I was like, no, I haven't played in like a month. I'm not gonna play. He's like, no, you're gonna DH, you're gonna get 2 hits, you get 2 RBIs, and you're gonna steal 2 bases. And I'm just like, yeah, no, that's not happening. It's just not gonna happen. We ended up killing Anna Maria. I had 2 hits, scored 2 runs, and somehow I stole 2 bases. So that might be the most impressive thing he ever did at Colby-Sawyer. Outside, yeah. But that was the great thing about Janik, his ability to be a great teammate. Whether he was pitching or in between starts, he seemed like he pitched every day anyway. He was always rooting everyone on. But my favorite Janik story was the first time I met him. My freshman year, he wasn't on the team that fall, and we had fall tryouts, and I kept hearing about Janik this, Janik that. I was like, I don't know who this guy is. Yeah, it's great, whatever. He's not here, so. So I ended up somehow making the team. Coach Broden made a poor decision there. And so all of a sudden, we fast forward to the fall, and I'm in my first class of the spring semester. And this guy comes up to me, about 5'7", maybe 140 pounds, looks like he's about 14. And he's like, so are you on the baseball team? And I had a Colby-Sawyer baseball shirt on, otherwise why would he assume that? So he's talking to me, and he's like, yeah, I think I'm on the team. I'm not really sure. I wasn't here in the fall. And I'm like, who is this guy? Like, my name's John. I was like, no, I don't know who you are. Yeah, sure, you're on the team, bro. Yeah, well, whatever. So fast forward, we go to practice that day. And I hear, all of a sudden I start to hear this name Janik. It's popping. I'm like, okay, I don't know, is he here? I still am not putting 2 together. I see this John character who's in my class is there. And I didn't catch him in that practice, but I got in the cage. And all of a sudden, 3 fastballs right by me. No chance, strikeout, see you later. And I was like, wow, this guy is really good, like they said. And so from then on, I got the honor of being his teammate for 2 seasons and catching him, seeing him dominate teams in the Commonwealth Coast Conference, and the rest is history for Janik. So with that, I'd like to proudly introduce my friend and teammate, John Nicholas, into the Colby-Sawyer Hall of Fame. Slimming out.
So I understand what I did here. I basically asked Led Zeppelin to be my opening band. This is ridiculous. So this is the part of the program where I wish I actually wrote a speech. I have a sticky note, and half of it's taken up by Wing It. So congratulations to all the inductees. I'm kind of a stats nerd, so I looked everybody up, and I don't deserve to be in this class at all. You guys are serious. Thank you very much, Ben. It's weird to call you Ben. I don't know. Mox. His name's Mox. So, Mox, thank you, one, for being my favorite catcher that I've ever worked with, and also the best looking catcher that I've ever worked with. I mean, hands down. Thank you to all my friends and family who are here, especially my brother. Love you, bro. This goes out to all my teammates too, and this is kind of for this side of the audience here. I met some of the people that I'm going to have as best friends, great friends for the rest of my life at Colby-Sawyer. You will not meet people as unique, weird, and fun as you do at Colby-Sawyer. You will not. You can't go to another college and meet people like this. It's as unique and special as you can get at a school. Thank you to Coach Broden for giving me the opportunity to play college baseball, which was one of my dreams that I've always had. You're welcome also for not making me stand up here and do this, and getting Ben to do it, so appreciate that. This is going to sound a little cliche, but thank you to my wife for being my best friend and being my #1 fan, going to all the games, and also making this possible, because I don't think I would have graduated. And that's kind of a requirement for this, so yeah, thank you for that. and I have a quick story about, and I'm going to go short. So a quick story about the two people that impacted my baseball life the most. It's my parents. So my dad, when I was younger, he set up a pitching mound in our backyard, kind of makeshift. I was about 14, 15 years old. And he would play catcher. I would be the pitcher on this little dirt mound. And he would set two metal trash cans on top of each other and set them up as the batter. And what ended up happening is I would always clip the trash can, and he didn't believe in catcher's gear, and it would just drill him every time. It was awful, getting bruises, shins, and everything like that. So he asked my mom to stand in. And his theory was that I didn't care enough about the trash cans to not hit them. And so I'm not going to end my speech and tell you how I hit my mom with the first pitch. But what I am going to say is I did end my career with 44 hits batters. That's my favorite record that I have this year. And I kind of dedicate that to my mom because she would always be like, I know how that feels. So thank you very much, Mom, Dad. I wouldn't be here without you, literally, I guess. But thank you very much, and thank you to everybody.
So I'm pleased to present the 97-98 men's basketball team. And I was really struggling with my speech earlier today. Not that I didn't know what I wanted to say, but because the 98 team kept me up all night last night, and I'm going on about 3 hours sleep. And I've learned that the 98 team, they played really hard for me, and guess what? They still do. So, 98 team. The description that kept coming up last evening was that, we were a bomb squad. We had everything. We were complete. We had depth. We had balance. We had power guys. We had perimeter firepower, great leadership, a lot of upperclassmen, great role players. We had power guys inside. We had our bigs and our smalls in our basketball, terminology. Brian Wilder, who was a beast inside, averaged 20 and 8. We used to grind people up. Terrell Dozier, who was unique to any team in New England at his size and basketball IQ, and really kept us loose in the locker room. Mark Furlow, who was a strong freak athlete, was recovering from an ACL injury that year, but played great, was the player of the year the following year. Lexi Baboli, who was automatic with his tippy-toe jump shots, as he was on film last night, shot blocker, big, strong kid. We had front court depth with Batch, who could shoot the ball, Brian Joyce, who didn't play that year with an injury, but he was with us every step of the way, and Billy Gallagher, whose main contributions came later on. He was just a freshman at the time. On the perimeter, we had the Hall of Famer, Matt George, who everybody keyed on. Captain, great shooter. What he did in that championship game, more on that in a moment, was just heroic. Nate Camp, another captain, 3-to-1 assist-to-turnover ratio, great shooter from the arc. Mike Spinney shot over 40% from the arc. John Edwards, who I would now like to publicly apologize for calling him Eddie for the whole year. I thought that was his name. It's John. The nickname has stuck, so he is Eddie. He made the team as a walk-on. Now he's a Hall of Famer. That's pretty cool. Pat Quinn, Pat was our closer. With the big guys, we'd grind everybody up, and then we'd go small and make free throws. And we'd use Pat when we went with that smaller lineup. Jimmy Statiris was our freshman point guard. Great defense and toughness. Quick side story. We're playing Plymouth State in the ECAC quarterfinals. They have an All-American, Adam DeChristopher, and Jimmy's guarding him. And so Adam DeChristopher yells to the Plymouth bench, "Hey, coach, I got a freshman on me. He's going to be nervous. Let me post him up." Now, he's talking to his coach, but he's really talking to Jimmy. And he's talking to our bench, and he's talking to me. And Jimmy goes to him, he goes, "Dude, you're 0 for 12. You should be nervous." So that was part of our toughness and our swagger. Marty Bennett, nobody tougher mentally. Great defense, decision-making. We had a great team. Now, those names I've mentioned we had 4 all-region players. 4. If you have 1 as a coach, you're doing pretty well. We had 4. 2 guys were first-team all-conference, Matt and Brian. Terrell was second team. Mark was the player of the year the following team. This was a really, really talented team. This is how talented we were. We were 12th in the country in scoring, 88 points per game. 10th in scoring margin, plus 15. 13th in the country in won-loss percentage. 6th in the country in field goal percentage. 17th in three-point. We shot over 40% from the arc as a team, which is unheard of. This was a bomb squad. Now, our season got off to a little bit of a rocky start. I'm sure you guys don't remember, but I did. We lost our 2 scrimmages. Okay, I was really concerned. Then we're playing UNE, and we're supposed to win. We're opening against them at home. We're down like 15 with 7 minutes to go. This team is killing me. And we press, and Matt goes off, and we end up winning, handily. But it wasn't easy, as easy as the score indicated. So we had a couple of nice win streaks, 8 games, 10 games. We were really good. Now, back then, the NCAA tournament, which is what we wanted to do, that's where we wanted to go, the criteria kept changing from year to year. One year it was 48 teams, then it was 62. The league we were in, one year it would have an automatic bid. You win the conference tournament, you go. Other years it wouldn't. Well, this is a year where we didn't have one. So our margin for error to go to the NCAA tournament was very small. We had to get an at-large bid, and there was like 8 of them in the whole country. It was, it was a lofty goal, but we wanted that, and we were close to that, and that's what we wanted. So we lose in our conference tournament, and I think the pressure got to their coach a little bit. I didn't feel like I had coached well, and I remember getting together with my coaches, Brayshaw, Pinkoski, and Kyle Battis. Special shout out to Josh Pinkoski, Colby-Sawyer alum, over 20 years as an assistant. And we had to regroup a little bit, and thanks, Tom, for reminding me. We saw the bracket Plymouth State, and that's an in-state rival, and we didn't like each other, and maybe Keene later on and all that. And Tom reminded me we had like the Godfather line. Like, I feel like the Godfather. Like we're gonna regroup, and we're gonna settle all family business. Okay, we're gonna get Plymouth, we're gonna get Wentworth, our league rival, and we're gonna get Keene, and that's what we did. So we go to the ECACs, we don't get the bid, so we have a little edge to ourselves now because we wanted that bid, and we end up in the ECACs. And back then, the ECACs was a big deal. Many times that field was as strong as the NCAA field because of a lot of different things that I won't get into. So we get Plymouth in that first game, and it's a back and forth game. They're really good. Place is packed. Matt scores his 2,000th. Brian scores his 1,000th point. Terrell goes off. We execute an out-of-bounds play in the last few seconds, get Brian inside, he finishes. And that's why we review our out-of-bounds plays constantly. And you guys roll your eyes, well, that's why, because you never know when you're going to need them. And we needed them to prolong our season, and we did it. So we get Wentworth, league matchup, we handle them. And then we draw Keene, who had upset Amherst, who we had played in the ECAC finals a couple years earlier. Now, the place was crazy. The capacity, I think, of the Hogan Center was like 700 or something back then. We had more than twice that, 1,500, 2,000 people. We didn't even count back then. People were everywhere. They were on the track. Our president at the time couldn't get a seat, so she's standing in the corner with like 100 students with faces painted and stuff. I thought I was going to get fired. People sitting at the press row. It was really nuts. The 2 mascots, the Owl and the Charger, fought. No, they fought. Like the New London Police Department involved, separate them. It's on the news. That's the story. It was crazy. It was crazy. Channel 9 had the whole thing. So we end up winning the game, and a little sidebar story. We watched the game last night with my '98 team, and now I mentioned Matt earlier. Matt at one point scores 15 points in a row. 15 points in a row. It's incredible, and he plays great, and he just takes the team on his shoulders. And we're watching the game last night, and it was fun because the guys are there with their spouses and their kids, and they're like, "Hey, honey, come here. This is my only basket," and they score, and then they'll be holding up their kids. See, I told you Daddy could shoot, and he makes a shot. And it was awesome, right? And so we're getting all these cheers. Great play. There's a steal. There's a rebound. But this got the biggest cheer. there's a scene in the game, and it happens right after Matt goes off for 15 in a row. And we run a pick and roll with Matt and Terrell, because that's all we did. We ran a pick and roll with Matt and Terrell, or Matt and Wilder, and that's all we did, and it worked. Well, Matt turns it over. He has Terrell, and he makes a bad pass. Again, after scoring 15 in a row. So we have a dead ball. We come over to the sidelines, and Matt comes up to Terrell, and it's a retro film. There's no sound or anything. It's all black and white. And Matt puts his head in Terrell's, in his chest, like this. And so, he's saying, like, oh, my bad, man. I'm sorry, I had you. And he starts walking away. Terrell grabs him, and Terrell's 270. He's a big, strong guy, and he gives him a big hug. Like, it's okay, it's okay. And my wife's laughing at me because I cry during cartoons. And that got the biggest response from the guys watching. Oh, look at Terrell, isn't that cool? He was so great in the locker room, and that's what the team was all about. So we had to be talented to win 25 games. We had to have those, those all-league players and all that, but you don't get to that point where you cut down the nets and you win a championship unless you're tight and you love each other. And, everybody came together to be here, and last night, and, friends for life, as so many people have mentioned earlier. So in talking to Marty and Nate, I was trying to, in my remarks, how I'm going to convey to the crowd about, how do we describe the atmosphere we had for that tournament? Because we've had some nice atmospheres here, but nothing like that before or since. And at their suggestion, I put together a short little clip that I'd like to share with you now. Fingers crossed. Thanks, Ryan and Jimmy, for the help with that. Get goosebumps still. So it's my great honor and pleasure to present the 97-98 men's basketball team into the Colby-Sawyer Athletic Hall of Fame. Come on up, guys. You guys will take a picture right over here. Make me yell. We've got coaches Battis, Pinkoski, and Brayshaw, Mark Furlow, Brian Wilder, Nate Camp, Marty Bennett, Jimmy Statiris, Matt George, Pat Quinn, Lexi Bavolia. Forget anyone?
Okay, you guys want to take a shot? You guys want to take a shot?
Accepting on behalf of the team are two seniors, co-captain Nate Camp and Marty Bennett.
This is easy because there's two of us. Like, you know, no problem. You guys think you're rough.
Certainly, this is quite an honor to be before you today. I'd like to extend gratitude and appreciation for what this honor means to everyone involved with the 97-98 men's basketball team here at Colby-Sawyer. Before we get into that, though, however, there are several thank yous and points of emphasis that need to be addressed. And the thank yous need to start off with Coach Fody, assistant coach Kyle, Tom, and Josh, current parents, obviously current student athletes here today, President Galligan, faculty and staff who believed in us and pushed us to be the best that we could be. And then also the person that nominated us for the Hall of Fame. One of our closest friends, Matt Follis, and he's more than just a friend. He was kind of our life coach. He was our weight room coach. He was always heavy on the bench press, shrugs, not sure, but anyway. He was also at all of our games, supporting us. No one looked better in a pair of khakis and a Colby-Sawyer golf shirt, handing out programs, the ECAC night. You're a huge support, so thank you. And specifically the coaching staff, it can be a very thankless job, but you guys gave your time away from your families. You believed in our abilities, and you expected greatness from our team. And Josh has been here for forever. Tom, certainly, I go way back with Tom, and now I teach his daughter in 8th grade. Josh, I've had your son at my basketball camp. Kyle, we grew up, neighboring towns. Coach Fody, you guys, you all were a huge support to us in what we were trying to do. And what I appreciate as a coach now, constantly giving advice to myself, my team, but also, you're there for us beyond just the basketball court. You care about us now, and you always have. And we really appreciate that. And certainly we wouldn't be here without your tremendous support over the years.
Nate and I would also like to congratulate Lori, John, Michelle, and particularly Ethan. We had the pleasure of playing with Ethan the seniors did for 2 years. Tremendous leader. One thing I'll say about Ethan, just a real perfectionist. In practice, in games, just, off the court, in the classroom, just a great guy and really worked hard. So this acknowledgement is truly unique in that it's a team honor, and that's what this was. This was a team. What made this group of players special was a combination of talent, toughness, competitiveness, confidence, but most importantly of all, selflessness. This team was made up of players. You gotta flip the pages. This team was made up with a group of players who were 1,000-point scorers in high school, all league, all state talent. But it was also comprised of a group of guys who accepted roles for the betterment of the team. Guys who were primary scorers on their high school teams, basically set their own interests aside to lead us to 25 wins, an undefeated conference record, but most importantly, the New England ECAC championship, the college's first. It was an excellent example for young players. I'm glad a lot of you guys are here today. The ability to set yourself aside and realize that there's something more important. You know, a lot of these guys, you know, I think of some of these players on the team. You know, Sean Batchelder scored 1,000 points in high school. He didn't really see the floor much that season, and that was okay. Okay, that's what the team was. Accept and embrace your roles, and good things can happen. And again, if it wasn't for the leadership of Coach Fody and his staff, none of it would be possible. But I think what really made this team great, and Coach alluded to this earlier, is that we were kind of like a family. We lived together, we ate together, we went to the library and studied together. That may not be true, but my mom's sitting over there, so I have to say.
It's true, Martha, it's true.
But we did everything together. And to this day, we still try to get together as often as possible. So.
What was also special about this great team is it comprised of players from all over the region. As in the case every year throughout his tenure at Colby-Sawyer, Coach Fody put together an incredible group of talented players that he took great pride in molding into one of the finest in Charger history. So who are these guys? We could probably, I know Mike Heffernan from the Marriott, he probably could introduce him just as well as any of us. He knows every single one of you guys.
Because we spent so much time.
Yeah, we did. Let's start with Derry, New Hampshire. Derry, New Hampshire raised a scrappy sharpshooting guard in Mike Spinney. Milford, New Hampshire brought us a crafty, dumpy tool scorer in Sean Batchelder. Lebanon, New Hampshire brought us a big post player with good footwork in Billy Gallagher. Laconia, New Hampshire brought us a rebounding machine with a tippy-toe jumper in Lexi Babolia. East Hampton, New York gave us a tough, ambidextrous post player with swag. This guy gave meaning to swagger well before its time, Terrell Dozier. Bath, Maine brought us a hard-working guard who starred in a famous shoe commercial that was filmed on campus that not many people know about, but it was famous, Jonathan Edwards, or Eddie. Barry, Vermont brought us a co-captain who scored 2,000 points in high school, then followed that up with 2,000 more here on campus. Already a Hall of Famer, Matt George. Westbrook, Maine produced another great tough-minded leader whose job was to defend the opponent's best player, as well as show everyone he could dribble like John Stockton, Marty Burnett.
Who wrote that?
I stole that from you.
Waltham, Massachusetts gave us the gritty, tough 1,000-point post presence who was never afraid to scream in layup lines, Brian Wilder. Rye, New Hampshire produced our favorite silver, silky smooth scoring guard, Pat Quinn. Stoneham, Mass gave us our biggest cheerleader that year, who unfortunately tore his ACL in practice? Yeah, early in the season, Brian Joyce. Colchester, Vermont produced one of the hardest workers in the weight room, 1,000-point scorer, Mark Furlow. Manchester, New Hampshire gave us a tough defending point guard squirt, Jimmy Sateris. And last but not least, Lebanon, New Hampshire gave us our floor general, knockdown three-point shooter, Nate Camp.
This special group of individuals came together to achieve something bigger than themselves, which is always a sign of a great team. Other than getting married and the birth of our kids, winning the 1998 New England ECAC Championship was one of the greatest accomplishments in our lives. And in our early 20s, was Wilder even 20 then?
No, he was like 17.
All right. At any rate, in our early 20s, we all created memories to last a lifetime. Memories that not every student athlete gets a chance to witness firsthand. So we tried to savor this. Although the game was played in March of 1998, before high definition, this particular championship was won well before that. It was won when we were back in the young schoolboy days, trying to get a few extra shots in before and after practice, while dreaming about a big game. It was won when someone told us that championship was won when someone told us that we weren't good enough, or that we weren't tall enough, or that you'll never be tough enough to play college basketball. Those moments created the motivation and desire to be great. It created the mental toughness needed to beat arch rivals in the tournament of Wentworth, Plymouth State, and Keene State. Early in that championship game, there was a player from Keene State named Stacy Messiah. He was really good. He stole the ball at half court, and he went in for a slam dunk that quickly silenced our crowd and energized Keene State players and fans into an absolute frenzy. For certain teams, this could have been absolutely devastating mentally. Not this group. Resilient, tough, together, that's how we rolled. We had an amazing second half to the championship game that included many big shots and lots of defensive hustle. Coach Fody would often preach to us that being tough, it's not about pounding your chest or shoving your opponent around. It's taking an offensive foul, sacrificing yourself for the team, and knocking down clutch foul shots. That's being tough, and that's having grit. On the biggest stage of our careers, during the finals, as a team, we shot 23 for 24 from the foul line and dominated the game down the stretch to win the finals. And that was tough. We've all come a long way since 1998 with many more highlights and memories to reflect on. Each of these players that we've mentioned and talked about has been successful in their careers, in their marriages, most of all starting a family, becoming a dad, and a role model in the community. They're active in their own towns as leaders, volunteers, coaches, and they try to give back the way that they've been given so many opportunities when they were growing up as kids. As captain of this team, this is truly one of the greatest honors any student athlete could imagine, and I'm so proud of these teammates. We came to campus as individuals from strong families and from tough towns. But what we gained from Colby-Sawyer is hard to put into words. I guess we'll go with team. That works the best. It's always what we've been. We love every single one of you. We share a brotherhood for life. Thank you for this great honor, and as always,
Go Chargers.
go Chargers.
Ladies and gentlemen, one more time, the Colby-Sawyer Athletics Hall of Fame class of 2015. Thank you. We're so proud of you and grateful that you'll continue to represent Colby-Sawyer. As a reminder, you will be permanently memorialized with a Hall of Fame plaque in the lobby of the Hogan Sports Center. Now with closing remarks, Tom Galligan, president of Colby-Sawyer.
Thanks, Bill. You started off this morning and you said that in athletics, and for you, this is one of your favorite days of the year. And it's one of my favorite days of the year, too. And this is the 10th time that we've done it together. I like it because the room is filled with spirit. It's filled with joy. And everything that the inductees have accomplished and that all of us have accomplished and that we honor today is a result of hard work and dedication. Those are some of the things that are best about Colby-Sawyer College. Now, at Colby-Sawyer, athletics enrich our lives. Athletics have been part of our tradition since our birth, and today our athletic programs thrive. Our student athletes truly are student athletes, fully participating in the life of our community, in the classroom, in the laboratory, in internships, in clubs, on the field, on the court, on the slope, on the course, in the pool. Their lives are well-rounded, and they represent us with pride, with civility, and with ability. We're proud when other teams come to our beautiful campus to compete, and we're just as proud when our extraordinary student athletes compete away from Colby-Sawyer, because we know they do us proud. Now, some of our student athletes, coaches, teams, and supporters have gone even further. They have excelled, as you've heard today, on the regional and national stages. They have, if you will, entered the athletic pantheon at Colby-Sawyer. Through their ability, their leadership, their commitment, and their drive, they have set themselves apart as the people to whom faces turn in admiration. They're the people we talk about. They're the people we tell stories about. They're the people we first recall when we talk about Colby-Sawyer sports. And these 5 inductees are those people. Ethan Casson, heady, determined, gutsy, confident, athlete. Now, I'm sure being an athlete helped Ethan at ESPN. I'm sure it helped him with the Timberwolves. And I'm sure it's helped him with the 49ers. But a few years ago, when he got out to San Francisco, his first assignment was to sell a new stadium for the 49ers in Santa Clara, California. Sell a stadium. And they don't open stadiums until they're sold, by the way. At least not the pros. We tend to bargain into the future. So what was he going to do? Now here's where the student part mixed with the athlete part. He thought back to that U.S. history course he took at Colby-Sawyer College. He thought of California. He thought of gold. He thought of Gold Rush. He thought of the 49ers. The 49ers he was working for. He realized 49ers, football, history. And he thought of an outfitter who made pants, Levi Strauss. So he knocked on their door, and soon the stadium had a name, Student Athlete. His big dreams became the San Francisco 49ers reality. So Student Athlete. John, you are right, graduating is a big part of this. Now, Michelle, if at first we don't succeed at Colby-Sawyer College, we try and we try again. Even if we have to rely on telepathy, teammates, and the power of positive thinking, because we can't rely upon email, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, or phone calls because of the NCAA's prohibition on contacting a student athlete at another school. Michelle, thank you for forgiving George for not recruiting you out of high school. Thank you for coming to Colby-Sawyer College, and thank you for trying out for the basketball team. Lori, Colby-Sawyer College is, among other things, a tennis school. We heard about how great our program was when Lori was here, and now our men and our women absolutely dominate our current conference. In the great history of Colby-Sawyer tennis, Lori, you are one of the great faces of that wonderful sport, and you are also a great representative of the many multi-sport athletes we have here on campus. In your athletic career at Colby-Sawyer, today is match point, and you win. Congratulations. You're a teammate, you're a roommate, you're a person of great faith, and you're a friend. So you are truly a Hall of Famer. John, now on to you. Not Ben, you. And what is it that makes catchers think they're so funny? I mean, you got Bob Uecker, you got the late Yogi Berra, and Ben Warnick. 2 stolen bases. But John, now on to you. Anyone with a Pitsnog deserves to be in the Hall of Fame. And when I look at you, I don't even see it, but you got the Pitsnog, so there you go. Janik, you are that good. Colby-Sawyer baseball has a whole lot of love for you because on the field, you were rock and roll, and to your opponents, you were a heartbreaker. The song remains the same. Thanks for the Led Zeppelin reference, by the way. John, you are a Colby-Sawyer College baseball rock star, even if you did bean your own mother. The 1997-98 men's basketball team. There are no teams in the professional baseball, football, or basketball halls of fame. They're all about individuals. And that's ironic because this athletics thing is all about teams. Teams succeed together. Even athletes in individual sports are parts of teams with coaches, trainers, family, friends, and advisors. None of us ever succeed alone, and you all succeeded together. Congratulations. I would like to say something to today's team, men's basketball team. It goes for the women's team too, it goes for all our teams, but it really goes for the men's basketball team. This year, this season, when he starts getting red on the top of his head, all right, when he calls timeout, and he turns to his assistant coaches, and he turns back to you, and he glares at you all, think, this man cries. Ariel, the Little Mermaid, Aladdin, and probably even Scooby-Doo. So you just smile back and say, yeah, coach. Anyway, at Colby-Sawyer College, like the 97-98 men's basketball team, we succeed together. Our most important pronoun is we, and we is all about teams. So thank you all for being here. Join me in a rousing round of applause congratulating all our inductees. Make sure you get over to the Hogan Center to look at the Hall of Fame wall, and go Chargers!